You think you live in a free country. You think that if the lights go out and the trucks stop rolling, you'll just fall back on the old ways. Catch the rain, dig a well, grow your own food, render your own medicine. You're wrong. Most of those things are already against the law where you live, and you never noticed because nobody outlaws survival with a press conference. They do it with a permit office, a zoning board, and a line of fine print buried in a municipal code nobody reads until the day they're handcuffed for it. Here's the dark joke. The same skills that kept your great-grandparents alive through the Depression, the Dust Bowl, the Spanish flu, the exact ones, are now misdemeanors and felonies across 47 states. Not because they're dangerous, because they make you independent, and an independent man doesn't need the grid, the bank, the pharmacy, or the permission slip. So they regulated self-reliance into a crime, quietly, one ordinance at a time, while you were watching the news that told you to stay calm and stay put. This is the list of skills they don't want you to have. Some are illegal everywhere. Some are illegal in the wrong county at the wrong time. All of them will keep you breathing when the system that banned them collapses. Learn them anyway. Pay attention. Number 1. Rainwater harvesting. Sounds insane, doesn't it? That catching water that fell from the sky onto your own roof could be a crime. But for decades, Colorado made it flatly illegal, and Utah, Nevada, and a dozen others still wrap it in permits, gallon caps, and you don't own the water cycle doctrine rooted in century-old prior appropriation law. The reasoning is that downstream water rights are already spoken for. The reality is that a 55-gallon drum under a downspout is the cheapest insurance you'll ever own. Screen it, keep it dark to kill algae, and filter before drinking. Number 2. Digging your own well. In most of the country, you cannot put a shovel or an auger into your own ground for water without a licensed driller, a permit, and an inspection. Bored wells, sandpoint wells, hand-dug wells, the old reliable methods, are restricted or banned in the name of aquifer protection. When the municipal pumps lose power, the family with the illegal hand pump in the back 40 is the family that doesn't line up at a distribution point. Number 3. Collecting and using medicinal herbs. Foxglove, lobelia, comfrey, even high-dose elderberry preparations. Federal and state law treats unlicensed medicine making as practicing without a license or distributing unapproved drugs. Your grandmother's poultice is now a regulatory violation. The herbs grow on roadsides and in your yard, and they treated wounds and fevers for 10,000 years before the FDA existed. Know which plant does what, and never tell a bureaucrat you made it. Number 4. Foraging on public land. That national forest you pay taxes on? Pulling wild mushrooms, ramps, berries, or roots off it without a permit is illegal in most jurisdictions, and commercial-scale gathering can land you a federal citation. Parks are worse. Zero harvest, full stop. The food is free, renewable, and right there, and the law says starve politely instead. Number 5. Distilling your own alcohol. Producing distilled spirits without a federal permit is a felony, not a fine, a felony. Even if you never sell a drop and only want fuel, medical-grade disinfectant, or a way to preserve tinctures. Home-brewing beer and wine got legalized. The still stayed criminal, because the still also makes engine fuel and antiseptic, and that's a little too self-sufficient for comfort. A pot still is medieval technology. Treat the knowledge as theory. Number 6. Saving and trading heirloom seeds. Seed libraries have been raided and shut down under seed labeling and agricultural distribution laws. Patented genetics make it illegal to replant what you grew. The single most basic act of agriculture, keep the best seed, plant it next year, is hemmed in by intellectual property law designed so you buy new seed every spring. Open-pollinated heirlooms breed true. Stockpile them dry, cool, and dark. Number 7. Off-grid living without permits. Try disconnecting from the municipal water and sewer and power in most counties. You'll meet building codes that legally require you to be hooked to the grid, ordinances that condemn a home with no approved sewage, and inspectors empowered to deem your self-sufficient cabin unfit for human habitation. People have lost their homes for the crime of not needing the utility company. Number 8. Composting human manure. The sawdust bucket system that safely returns human waste to the soil, proven, documented, used worldwide, is illegal under sanitation codes that mandate a septic system or sewer hookup. When the sewage lift stations lose power and back up into the streets, the family quietly composting in a sealed bin is the family not living in their own filth. Number 9. Catching rainwater off a roof for drinking, different from collection for the garden. Using harvested rain as potable water trips health codes in most places, which insist potable water come from an approved source. So you can have the barrel but not legally drink from it. The fix is the same as it's always been. Filter, then boil or treat with a few drops of unscented bleach or a ceramic element. The microbes don't read the code. Number 10. Home gunsmithing and ammunition reloading. Building a firearm for personal use was a long tradition. Now serialization rules, ghost gun bans and reloading restrictions in several states criminalize the workbench. Reloading spent brass, once a thrifty hobby, runs into powder storage limits and outright bans in places like parts of California. When the shelves are empty, the man who can recharge a cartridge has options the rest don't. Number 11. Trapping game for food. Connie bear traps, snares, leg holds, deadfalls, the techniques that fed the frontier, are banned or tightly seasoned across most states, with snaring specifically outlawed in many. A snare is a loop of wire and a knowledge of where an animal walks. It is the difference between protein and starvation in a long emergency, and it is precisely the skill they've scrubbed from legal practice. Number 12. Keeping livestock in residential zones. Backyard chickens, a single dairy goat, a meat rabbit. Zoning ordinances in the vast majority of suburbs forbid them outright or strangle them with rooster bans, head counts, and setback rules. The animals that turn kitchen scraps into eggs, milk, and meat are legislated off your property, so your only food source remains a store with a 3-day inventory. Number 13. Selling or even giving away raw milk. Raw milk crosses state lines as contraband. In many states, you can't legally hand a neighbor a jar of milk from your own cow. The cow share loophole exists precisely because the Direct Act is banned. Pasteurization is a choice the law made for you, permanently. Number 14. Home butchering and sharing meat. You can raise the animal, but slaughter and distribution outside a USDA-inspected facility is illegal for sale, and sharing is heavily restricted. The skill of breaking down a carcass cleanly, once universal, is now a regulatory minefield. Learn the cuts, learn to chill fast, learn to cure, and keep it within your own walls. Number 15. Building a wood-fired structure or outdoor oven without a permit. Cob ovens, masonry stoves, even some wood stoves run afoul of emissions rules and building codes. The EPA has tightened wood-burning appliance standards to the point that older, repairable stoves can't be legally sold or installed in some areas. When the gas line dies, wood heat is the fallback they made hard to build. Number 16. Collecting driftwood, deadfall, or down timber. Gathering firewood off public land without a permit is a citation. In a blackout, the forest floor is covered in fuel you legally cannot touch. A firewood cutting permit is cheap and worth having on file now, while the office is still open. Number 17. Damming or diverting a stream on your own land. Build a small pond, redirect a seasonal creek to your garden, set a microhydro wheel, and you've likely violated water rights and wetland protection law. The Clean Water Act's reach over waters of the United States has been used against ponds and ditches. Moving water is the oldest engineering there is, and it's permission-locked. Number 18. Burning yard and garden waste. Open burning is banned across most populated counties. The brush pile that should become heat, biochar, and ash fertilizer is instead a finable offense. Learn to make biochar in a sealed retort, slow, smokeless, and far harder to sight. Number 19. Catching fish for food outside the season or limit. Subsistence fishing, taking what you need to eat, is illegal the moment you cross a bag limit or season set for sport, not survival. The cane pole and a can of worms fed millions, The regulations assume you're fishing for fun, never for hunger. Number 20. Storing fuel and bulk supplies. Fire codes cap how much gasoline, propane, and ammunition you can legally keep on a residential property, and HOA rules pile on. The prepper with 3 months of fuel is technically in violation. The man with 3 days of fuel is a responsible citizen. Guess which one is alive in week 2? Here's what all 20 have in common. None of them are dangerous to your neighbor. Every one of them is dangerous to a system that profits from your dependence on the utility, the grocery chain, the pharmacy, the licensed professional, the permit window. They didn't outlaw self-reliance because it failed. They outlawed it because it worked too well. And a population that can feed, water, heat, and heal itself is a population that can't be controlled by turning off the tap. So learn them. Quietly. In your own backyard. In your own notebook. In your own hands. Not to break the law for the sake of it, but because the day the law can no longer protect you is the exact day these skills start protecting you. The frontier didn't have permit offices, and the frontier survived. Stay alive. Stay free. And remember, the skills they tried to erase are the ones that keep you breathing when everything else stops.